This video is brought to you by the good folks at KEH. Consider this a year-end public service announcement, because I just don't know how much longer this particular value bubble will last. When Fujifilm announced their $7,500 GFX 100 Mark II, an incredibly complete and impressive digital medium format camera that was a smaller, faster, lighter, 25% less expensive version of the original $10,000 GFX 100, if a larger, heavier, and 25% more expensive version of its nearest relative, the GFX 100S, they also announced a pair of tilt-shift lenses. And that is when, suddenly, an incredible opportunity opened for the landscape, including urban landscape, and architectural photographers among us. Just not quite the one you might have assumed. Hey everybody, I'm Hugh Brownstone for Three Blind Men and an Elephant, and today I want to talk briefly, because the punchline is incredible but potentially gated by time and inventory, about three things, really. One, how the arrival of the $7,500 GFX 100 Mark II has cratered the prices of a used, or new for that matter, GFX 100S, 50S2, or the no longer in production OG, as in original gangsta, GFX 50S. I'm talking A, $4,400 for a new GFX 100S, which at launch just about 3 years ago was priced at a cool $6,000. B, now an even $4,000 for a used 100S in excellent plus condition. C, as little as $3,000 for a brand new GFX 50S Mark II if you look hard enough right now during the last few days of 2023. D, call it $2,750 for a used like new minus GFX 50S Mark II including battery and charger, which in either case just months ago was selling for $4,000 large new. And E, call it $1,950 for a used like new minus OG GFX 50S with battery, charger, and removable, optionally tiltable and rotatable EVF1 introduced back in 2017 that neither the 50S Mark II nor the GFX 100S has, like this one. So, get them while they're hot and available. I'll put links down in the show notes below so that if you decide to buy using those links, you'll be contributing at no cost to you a small commission to help the channel with our thanks. 2, I want to talk about how the arrival of the Mongo $4,000 1.34 kilo GF 30mm f5.6 tilt shift lens, the full frame field of view, shallowest depth of field equivalent of a 24 f4.5, suddenly makes digital medium format a much more interesting choice for urban landscape in particular and architectural photographers, those of us with the financial and biological muscle anyway. And 3, how putting these two things together may lead some of us to conclude that for the far from inconsequential, but relatively speaking, call it reasonably if not excessively priced for most of us, $6,000, it is possible to have a better landscape, urban landscape, architectural capture tool than any other digital medium format or full frame kit out there at anywhere near the price. Now, I've done videos on all of the cameras I've just mentioned. I'll put links to them down below or up here somewhere if I remember. So I'm not going to repeat what I said there, other than that, first, Fujifilm's digital medium format cameras are the most performant in the business at their respective resolutions. Usually not without a couple of teething problems when first launched, it has to be said, but Fujifilm has been good about firmware updates. Second, while the GFX 50S Mark II uses the same body as the 100S. It sports half the megapixels of the 100S and does not have the hybrid phase detection autofocus system of the 100S, instead relying on the earlier contrast detection only system from the original 50S. Third, that difference in autofocus will not matter at all to most landscape or architectural photographers because their subject matter tends not to have eyes or move all that much. Fourth, the original 50S has a different body than the one shared by the 50S2 and 100S altogether. It is bigger and heavier, does not have IBIS, does not have the 4th generation X processor, nor 4K video recording like the 50S2 it makes do with Full HD. On the other hand, it does have what can I really call it other than a big butt, compensated for, in my book, not only by the aforementioned option of adding the EVF tilt adapter, the same one used with the original GFX 100, but the really lovely feel in hand, which goes some way toward ameliorating the weight. In other words, Fujifilm has been on an absolute tear these last few years to make high-resolution, feature-packed, mirrorless digital medium format cameras available to more people than ever. They've been able to do this by aggressively riding the manufacturing experience curve, bringing us more for less, even if it means that those of us who bought into the GFX system previously might be a little bit unhappy as the market values of their camera body purchases have dropped dramatically, significantly. All of which has led us to this. As with all camera systems, really, it is usually much better to put the money into lenses than camera bodies. And this collapse of previous GFX bodies pricing makes this more feasible than ever. Enter the GF 30mm f5.6 tilt shift lens. One of two tilt shift lenses, as I said earlier, Fujifilm introduced with the GFX 100 Mark II, the other being the $3,500 110mm f5.6 macro tilt shift lens, actually a couple of ounces lighter than the 30. The promise of this lens, beyond the toy effect that one can actually achieve for far less weight and money and futzing and schlepping in post with software alone, is dramatically better corner-to-corner performance with higher resolution for landscape and architectural photography than is possible from a non-tilt shift lens either of the same field of view when corrected in post for keystoning, or an even wider lens then cropped in post to achieve the same object size. Hold that thought for a future video because I only got the GF30 5.6 in a couple of days ago. So that's it for today. A quick public service announcement that just might help you purchase a brilliant landscape and architectural kit with a state-of-the-art tilt and shift lens on a high-resolution camera that costs less than a new camera alone. Sponsored, naturally enough, by the good folks at KEH. A big shout out to KEH for sponsoring this video. Not only is KEH the oldest and biggest at what they do, buying and selling exclusively used camera gear of all sorts since 1979, but they do it well, with integrity and both a 180-day warranty and 21-day return policy, free shipping on orders of $75 or more. Which is why, because they make it as futz-free a process as possible, they are our go-to whenever we are looking to fund new purchases by selling our own gear or buying that special used piece of kit properly graded and checked when we want to go quirky or old school. Check them out using the special links and 5% discount or bonus code in the video description below. Thank you, KEH. If you like what you've seen here today, please give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, join the conversation in the comment section below because this is an exceptional audience. If you'd like help with a portfolio review, gear selection, finding or honing your artistic voice, sign up for a one-on-one mentoring video call via Zoom at 3bmep.com/booking. Finally, please consider supporting our work by using the no-cost-to-you affiliate links down below, sending us coffee money via PayPal, or most especially, joining us on Patreon, links down below as well. However you choose to support us, as always, we thank you for it.